With me today is John Proctor from Proctor Engineering Group, who's a national expert that can teach us on how to design and size and install these systems so they work better. John, sizing is pretty important. These systems typically are oversized.
You bet, Steve. Air conditioners tend to be really oversized, and the duct systems tend to be way too small.
Since most homes' systems are oversized by a ton or more, what are your tips for sizing systems?
Well, the first thing that they should insist on is to get a load calculation. They have to know that the contractor has sat down, figured out how much window area there was, what kind of windows they are, whether or not they're shaded or not. And from that, they need to calculate what the real size air conditioner is that they need. It's a very standard method of doing that. It's ACA Manual J, and getting the right size air conditioner is ACA Manual S. And they should insist that every single house that they build, that the AC contractor provides that information to them.
And that has to do with the orientation of the structure, the insulation in the walls, basically everything about the thermal envelope that influences the air conditioning load?
Sure, and especially the windows. That's a really big thing, when they're not high-tech windows or standard windows. We had one system, or one test that was done in Roseville, California, and you had two identical houses, and the only difference between the two was the windows. And the one with the really good windows only took a 2.5-ton air conditioner, whereas the one with the standard windows took a 3.5-ton air conditioner to do exactly the same job.
So that also saves money for the contractor because it costs money to upsize those systems.
That's right. The larger system costs the builder more or the homeowner more, and so you really ought to get the right size. Don't just go by square footage. That's the standard thing to do.
John, attics get upwards over 140 degrees in temperature.
That's right, and that's a really important place to check on the load. The amount of insulation that you have up there, whether or not you have radiant barrier, whether or not you have adequate venting. A lot of attics aren't vented properly.
What are some other penalties for having an oversized system?
Well, there's lots of penalties from an oversized system, besides the fact it costs more to begin with. Thing is, it costs you every time it runs. Costs you more every time it runs. The short cycles, like starting and stopping your car at every stop sign in a big hurry. You have a big air conditioner, it starts up real fast, cools off the house real fast, and bang, shuts off. Real inefficient.
What is the energy penalty for short cycling?
Well, it's probably on the order of 10–15% perhaps. It depends, of course, on the individual system. But people have this misconception that if you put in a smaller system and it runs a lot, that you're using more energy. That's not true. If you put in a small enough system, it'll run a lot longer, but it draws a lot less amps, a lot less watts as it runs. When you run short cycles, it ends up that it's a lot less efficient. And not only that, if you got any indoor humidity you want to remove, it doesn't do a good job of removing that.
It doesn't run long enough to dehumidify
That's
the air.
right, that's right.